Last week I spoke to the new federal member for the Central Queensland seat of Flynn, a rural electorate, Colin Boyce. He was very impressive, very down to earth, and what we love on this program, not woke and very common sense. Remember, as I told you, he was the state member for Callide in the Queensland Parliament. Now, this is big stuff and a big issue in this country. He got onto the front foot immediately as a candidate, which is exactly what the coalition should be doing now. And Colin Boyce argued that a net zero emission target would entrench Australia. We've really got to understand this, because I'll tell you what, we're all in it and we're all going to suffer. He said would entrench Australia into a lower standard of living, that it would be people in regional areas who would bear the brunt of it, although people all over Australia will cop it. We're seeing that already. His electorate's dominated by emissions-heavy mining and agriculture. Agriculture never mentioned by Bowen as a victim of Labor policy, although, as I've already said to you, now we're into the methane stuff and we're going to sort of measure the carbon dioxide emissions every time an animal breaks wind. Anyway, in Colin Boyce's electorate, mining and agriculture are the two biggest employers. And Colin Boyce, the new federal member for Flynn, says a net zero policy would put an end to the coal-fired power station that is needed to power Gladstone's gas plants and alumina refineries. Colin Boyce is also a farmer. He said bluntly, if we walk away from affordable coal-fired power, we are walking away from jobs. Now, I spoke last week to Colin about his outstanding maiden speech, where Colin Boyce issued a warning to the wider electorate of Australia, and I quote him, I say this, he said, ordinary Australian people require and deserve the basics of life: food security, water security, energy security, and national security, unquote. Colin Boyce joins me. Colin, thank you for your time. Good to have you back talking common sense. Just to put our viewers in the picture, your electorate is twice as big as Tasmania, 132,000 square kilometres, 3 coal-fired power stations, Stanwell, Callide and Gladstone, 15 large coal mines producing 90 million tonnes of coking and thermal coal this year, a CSG gas industry producing 25 million tonnes of LNG exported to the world. What happens to all this under Labor's net zero policy?
Well, good evening, Alan, and it's great to join you once again. And that's a very good question, and that's something that every Australian should be asking themselves. Where on earth are we going with the madness of this energy policy of Mr Albanese and Mr Bowen? Look what's happening in Europe and what's unfolding right there, right now. Germany, the UK are all in an energy crisis, all because they've exposed their national security on the madness of renewables over the last 15 years that just simply cannot produce reliable and affordable power.
100%, 100%. Now, your Gladstone is home to Rio Tinto, Boyne Island alumina smelter, the Yarwun alumina refinery, the QAL refinery, one of the world's largest. I mean, how do you power these outfits?
Well, you've got to have reliable baseload power to do it. And the reality is that solar panels and wind turbines cannot provide frequent, reliable power. They just can't do it. It has been proven everywhere. They are just simply not capable of providing 24/7 power to run heavy industry, alumina smelters, alumina refineries and so forth. It's right there in front of everybody. Yet here we are with a federal government that insists on closing down coal-fired power stations, on proposing to close down both the coal industry and the gas industry. What on earth are we going to use for power?